So it all started when that gorilla died. Do you guys remember that? In 2016, gorilla Harambe kid fell into the enclosure. Gorilla dragged the kid around. Gorilla got shot, killed, whatever. Back then, coffee was what, $3 for nice coffee, like a medium-sized coffee from Starbucks, $3, maybe $2.50, $3. Now it's like $7.50. That's inflation for you. And it absolutely sucks. Here we are in 2026. I think everything is about twice as expensive, and salaries have not kept up with the cost of what everything is. And the inspiration behind this video was mainly because I read that the new military budget is going to be $1.5 trillion. Now, to put that into perspective, before it was $800 billion, and now they want to make it $1.5 trillion. Which means, number one, government probably expects to go into a massive new war, and they need funding for it now, or the funding for that approved now, so that when they do go to war, they have the money for that. So you know what, like, buy some military stocks, I guess. But anyways, no. Point is, I saw that. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous, especially given the inflation that we are in right now. So yeah, gorilla died, pandemic happened, and the United States government was just like, you know what, let me print 20% of the entire monetary supply, like right now. I'm going to repeat that. 20% of all the US dollars ever printed or ever created, 20% of all the money that is circulating right now in dollars, all the US dollars that are circulating right now, they were printed during the pandemic. Now, I think it's basic math and economics. If you have more money in circulation and the wealth and GDP of the country did not increase proportionately, the value of that dollar goes down. So if you have the same amount of stuff, but you have more printed money, right? All that stuff of that value essentially goes down. So gorilla died. 20% of all the money ever printed was printed during the pandemic. There's a new $1.5 trillion budget that's out in place, and it seems as if government spending is absolutely insanely out of control. And that, I think, is unacceptable to at least us who are up and coming, not up and coming adults, but entering into the workforce. You might be in college, you might be graduating college, you might be an adult now, whatever. This should be absolutely 1,000% a concern for you, and you should probably call your representative and be like, yo, like, maybe don't do this, right? How does it affect you? Well, typically speaking, income, wages severely lag behind inflation. It might lag 5-10 years, and I'm pulling that number out of my ass, so don't quote me on it. But as the cost of goods just rise exponentially and your income's not keeping up, you're just gonna get poor, right? Which is number one, a huge issue, and number two, I would refer you to what I said number one because I'm rambling. So I'm just gonna search up some facts, right? And I think this is absolutely concerning. So let's see. In 2016, total federal debt was about $19.38 trillion. First of all, insane number. I don't even think a lot of people can wrap their heads around what $1 billion is, let alone $1 trillion and $20 trillion. A trillion is 1,000 billion. And then 20 trillion is 20,000 billion. Imagine what you can do with $1 billion. You can do a lot with $20 billion. And as of today, the debt is $40 trillion. So in 10 years, the debt doubled, right? And why is this debt a very bad thing? Well, typically, the government gives out bonds, which is basically like, hey, buy this bond and I will return you your money at 4% or 5%, whatever the yield rate is. And this is how the government borrows money. They don't have enough in their own little piggy bank. So then they were like, okay, I'm going to issue this bond. Anybody can buy this bond, actually. Asian countries, African countries, European countries, any country can buy American bonds. And then the United States has to pay that money back. Otherwise, if the United States doesn't pay that money back, people stop trusting in the dollar. Oil no longer gets traded in dollars, and a lot of the United States just loses its superpower position. If the United States can't pay back that money, which they will never do, they will print the money to pay for it. And so, I mean, we would lose out through inflation because printing money causes inflation. right? I think that's a pretty straightforward thing. Let's see. So 2016, $20 trillion in debt. Now it's $40 trillion in debt. That 4% yield they pay back, you can consider that as interest, like the same interest you would pay a bank for a house mortgage, or anything like that. Currently, for I believe it's every $7 spent, one of those dollars is spent to pay the interest. So the $7 of taxes you pay, one of those dollars is to pay back the interest on the money the government borrowed from other countries, people, etc. If the debt continues to balloon, then they have to they would have to pay even more interest. So it might be $2. So out of every $7, $2 is now spent on interest. And sometimes if they don't want to print money to pay that debt back, they will borrow even more money from the future. So issue out new bonds, borrow the money from the future to pay the current debt that they owe. And then they keep doing this, and then the debt balloons. And that's essentially what has happened in the past 40 years. Let's see. So that's about 100% increase, 102% increase on the debt in the past 10 years. And this is all happening as we're entering the workforce, and salaries have not essentially kept up with the price of things. I can never dream of buying a house in San Diego, right? I live in San Diego, by the way, but yeah, I can never dream of buying a house in San Diego. It's like the average price is like $1.3 million, right? So it's and I'm an engineer at a really, really good company that pays quite well. And even then, I'm just like, I'm probably going to be 40 by the time I buy my first house, right? Before, back in the day, the average age was like 27. Now it's 40, which is so sad. Let's see. Yeah. So what is happening now? Now, the current administration wants to have a $1.5 trillion budget, which I don't know if it's approved yet or not. Let me just double check.
The new $1.5 billion military budget approved.
Is not yet approved, but it's under negotiation, being reviewed under Congress. So right now it's about to be passed. Or it's going through Congress and it might get passed. It probably will. It's a Republican majority. They will most certainly vote for it, right? And
also, it's not a political thing. I'm not familiar with any party, but yeah.
So currently it's $800 billion if they make it $1.5 trillion. The only way they can afford that is to issue out new bonds. And when they issue out the new bonds, like I said before, they are going to have to pay that money back. They have to. The United States will always pay back its money, whether they have to print money to pay it back, if they have to issue out even new bonds that they have to pay out later to pay the current bonds that they set out. And in any of these ways, the national debt balloons. And this is how countries collapse. This is how societies collapse. This is, fiscally speaking, this is extremely irresponsible. I would totally support a bill that said all members of Congress are ineligible for re-election if they don't know how to balance the budget. Balancing the budget is basically you only spend what you earn. You don't have to borrow money to do what you need to do, right? Also, a lot of money goes to Social Security. Hence, go check out my other video. I don't know where I'm pointing at. I've never edited something like this. I made a video on Social Security, but yeah, a lot of the tax dollars goes to paying to Social Security. That's going to be paying to go to the military budget, and now it's going to go a lot of that money is also going to go towards paying the interest on the debt. The more debt you have, the more interest you pay, right? Which sucks because now the federal government doesn't have enough money to do the things it's supposed to do, which is serve its people and essentially fix the roads, build more beautiful cities. Give that money back, right? If you can run on 50% less money, right? Because a lot of the money in the government is going to waste. But if you can operate on 50% what you have, then you just don't have to tax your citizens as much, and you give more money back to the people, and then they don't have to take assistance from either state government or federal government. So
yeah, I did not present a lot of. I did present facts on it. Maybe I wasn't speaking very coherently. I'm very passionate. I think this is more of a parenting video because I realize I need to post a response every 2 weeks. I'm going to put that out. Nobody cares to post once every 2 weeks.
So yeah, The net interest cost currently is $1 trillion a year. The budget of the United States every year is about $7 trillion, $8 trillion. In about 10 years, it's going to be $2.1 trillion in interest payments, which is absolutely bonkers. That's one in like $5. Yeah, in 10 years, one in $5 is going to be going towards interest instead of one in $7. That's actually mind blowing. That's insane. The interest on the debt is bigger than the biggest senior programs like Social Security. So yeah, top two spending, Social Security, interest payments on the debt. So that's absolutely cooked. And we have, well, what is the average age in Congress? Let's see. What is the average age in Congress? It's 58 years old. They're not going to have to worry about inflation and paying off the debt because they're going to be like, like in like 20 years. So that's absolutely insane. Yeah, we need more younger people in Congress. I think that is a message I want to put out today. We need more younger people in Congress because they don't know how to spend their money. We know how to spend our money because we can't afford anything because of the shit economy, shit rent, shit prices, shit everything that we are now going through. Yeah, 1000%. Any of you guys out there, if you are young, if you're anywhere from like 20 to like 35, 20 to 40, sorry, everybody who's above 40, please highly consider having a career in politics and get a degree in economics and really understand how economics works and fix this entire debt problem, cost of living problem, all these certain things. We're all going to go bankrupt. So I absolutely don't support the massive new defense bill. Unless they know something about why they need $1.5 trillion, you don't suddenly just double your entire military spending unless you know something's about to happen. So, yeah, I'm holding on to some cash reserves to buy when the market dips. I am predicting quite maybe a global, not like World War III, but like a strong global war, shock, whatever you want to call it. I'm saving up my money. I'm investing in gold. I suggest you guys do the same. This is not financial advice, by the way. I don't want to get sued, but this video is not monetized either, so I don't know if I can even get sued. I don't know. But anyways, please subscribe because I just started this YouTube video. If you want to see more videos like this, obviously I suck at editing and structuring. I promise I will get better with time, but if you subscribe, that would mean the absolute most to me. Yeah, I really do want to bring these issues into light. I hope. I really hope. I don't even know how long this video has been going on. Yeah. Cancel debt. That's what I'm saying. Cancel debt. Man, that gorilla screwed everything over. I swear, everything was normal up to 2016. The gorilla died, and then everything went downhill from there. Right? There was no summer better than the 2016 summer I had. I was in 8th grade in 2016. Best summer I ever had, and everything went downhill from there. Just everything costs a lot more, and the stock market. Apparently, the wealth of America tripled somehow, even though everybody feels poor. Don't know why, but it is what it is. Anyways, I'm done ranting. I'm going to end this video. I'll just quickly edit it right after and just post it. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyways, bye.